course, comes after weeks of viral videos from a young man YouTuber who was literally creeping around daycares by himself, making claims about fraud that were not there. And then the vice president and the FBI director were retweeting these videos without even verifying if they were true. So we're not accusing people of being xenophobic and racist. They are being xenophobic and racist, including the President of the United States. And I want to say, for one, that I stand with the Somali and the immigrant community standing here today.
Welcome back to Chris Reacts. Before we jump in, hit that like button and subscribe, because the mainstream media definitely isn't going to show you moments like this. Today, we're looking at a congressional hearing where former Navy SEAL and Congressman Eli Crane drops a video that suddenly makes the room go very quiet. You know those moments in politics when everyone is shouting until someone brings receipts? Yeah, this was one of those moments. Grab your popcorn because this one gets interesting fast.
Mr. Hudson, are you just hearing from Republicans on this, or are Democrat constituents like, oh my God, I'm struggling to put my kids in school, struggling to make ends meet, and my tax dollars are being robbed by people, and then they're sending it all over the place, and this is complete fraud. What is going on, and why hasn't anything been done about it?
I'll give you a personal example. So my family, my in-laws in particular, are politically diverse. A lot of them vote for Democrats, and they're fairly apolitical. They're not like me, all plugged in. And so I kind of use them as a bellwether for what the people are thinking. Across the board, everybody is upset about this fraud.
And I'm guessing when you guys bring this up, whether it's to the Waltz administration, whether it's to the AG, the number one thing that comes back at you is you're a racist, you're a white supremacist, or you're an Islamophobe. As we've seen Governor Waltz now trying to answer for these questions, he's doing it at the national level. Do you guys hear the same thing at the state level as well?
Yes, absolutely. They always pivot to the divisive, as I stated in my opening statement. It's diversion, right? We're going to talk about personalities. We're going to talk about partisan politics. We're going to find some way to get people yelling at each other rather than looking at the problem.
Or, like you've heard my colleagues do on this panel, it's Donald Trump, baby.
Yep.
It's all about Donald Trump, right? The old pivot. We're not going to talk about what's going on in Somalia and not going to talk about what's going on in Minnesota with this massive fraud scandal. We're going to talk about Donald Trump. With my remaining seconds, can we play the video I have, Mr. Chairman?
horta aad iyo aadaan ugu faraxsanahay in maanta safari aan soo gaarnay sida dadka badan ay u og yihiin ciyaalkeena yaryar ilaa iyo number la eg 20 milyan oo ciyaal iskooley ah waxay cuntadooda ka helaan iskoolka kaliya marka waxaan fursad u helnay in aan sharci soo gudbino oo la dhahayo Meals Act oo u fududeynayo in waqtigaanay pandemic aan ku jirno oo dhalinyarada iskoolka aynan joogin oo guryahooda ay joogaan aynan gaajoonin oo familkoodi wili ay fursad u helaan in cunto ay helaan oo meelo qaarkood laga qaybinayo ay cuntada ka soo qaadan karaan marka aadaan ugu mahad celinaya safari in ay tahay meelaha sayti oo diyaarinooyo cunto maalin kasto dhalinyarada ciyaalkii iyo familkoodina ku taakuleynayo cuntada sayti maalintii kaliya safari waxay ay cunto siisaa 2300 oo ciyaal ah iyo familkooda taas waa mid muhiim ah sida aad u ogtihiin dhalinyaro badan gaajo ku nool wadankaanayti ama familkooda fursad u helin in quraac qada iyo casho ay siiso marka in qadadaasaytii ay meel ka helaan aaday u muhiimsan tahay bishaan ramadaanka oo familiyaalkeena badan iyagoo aan shaqo haysanin iyagoo aan taakulayn kale helaynin in aynan ka walwalin ciyaalkooda yaryar sidii ay qada ku siin lahaayeen waa muhiim marka waxaan u mahad celinayaa safari oo kaleete iyo dadka badan oo maalin ilaahay keeno fursad u qaata in ay u volunteer gareeyaan oo ay taakuleeyaan familiyaalka.
One thing that is so alarming is the reporting that many of these fraudulent companies are then donating the stolen money back to the same Democrats that are protecting them and advocate for these very programs. Is that correct, Mr. Hudson?
I would agree with that statement.
Well, we just had one of my Democrat colleagues said these are just opinions. You know, are these guys donating money back to Democrats?
Yes, they are.
I'd like to enter into the record, Mr. Chairman, an article from Breitbart News saying, with the title being Database Searches Show Somali Fraudsters Funding Democrat Politicians. So these aren't opinions.
Without objection.
There's actually reporting on this. Are you guys aware? You guys are elected officials in Minnesota, right? Are you guys aware of the reporting that some of the stolen money is getting funneled back to the Islamic terror group Al-Shabaab in Somalia? Mr. Robbins.
Yes, sir. And we have evidence of it going back as far as 2012, where a man was convicted of sending $21,000 to Al-Shabaab. In 2011, 2 Minnesota women were convicted of sending money to different groups. Someone else, we have multiple references of how the Al-Shabaab takes a cut when the money gets to Somalia through the Hawala network. So I think there's ample evidence on this and federal convictions.
Yeah, that's outrageous.
So let's talk about what happened in this hearing, because it highlights a bigger issue Americans are starting to pay attention to: government oversight and where taxpayer money actually goes. In this hearing, Congressman Eli Crane questioned officials about alleged fraud connected to pandemic-era food and childcare programs in Minnesota. These programs were supposed to help families and kids during lockdowns, but investigators and whistleblowers claim some organizations abused the system and collected millions of taxpayer dollars they weren't entitled to. Now, here's where the tension starts. Some Democrats in the hearing argued that criticism of these programs was unfair and could be used to target immigrant communities, specifically the Somali community in Minnesota. They said accusations of fraud were being exaggerated or pushed by politically motivated voices online. But Republicans on the panel pushed back hard. Crane and other members argue that the issue isn't about ethnicity or politics. It's about accountability. If taxpayer money is being stolen or misused, it needs to be investigated no matter who is involved. And honestly, that should be common sense. During the exchange, Crane played a clip related to the 10 Million Meals program that had already been under investigation. The point of showing the video was to highlight how some of these organizations claimed to serve huge numbers of meals during the pandemic, while investigators later questioned whether those meals were actually being provided. That's when things got awkward in the room. Witnesses also testified about reports that some individuals tied to the programs had made political donations. Now, to be clear, political donations by themselves are legal, but the concern raised in the hearing was whether fraudulent government funds were somehow being redirected into political influence. That's a serious question, and one that deserves investigation. Another topic brought up during the hearing was the concern that some funds sent overseas through informal money transfer systems could potentially end up in dangerous hands. Again, that's not a casual claim. Federal authorities have prosecuted cases in the past involving money transfers connected to extremist groups, which is why lawmakers said financial transparency matters. Here's the bigger takeaway. If billions of taxpayer dollars are flowing through emergency programs, there must be strong oversight. Americans from every political background should want that. Nobody likes corruption, nobody likes waste, and nobody likes feeling like their tax dollars are disappearing into a black hole. What stood out in this moment was how quickly the conversation shifted once evidence and investigations were brought up. Instead of partisan talking points, the focus moved to documentation, testimony, and accountability. And that's what congressional hearings are supposed to do. Now, whether you're conservative, moderate, or even liberal, I think most Americans can agree on this. Government programs should help the people they're meant to help, not become opportunities for fraud. Transparency matters. Oversight matters, and asking tough questions is literally the job of elected officials. But I want to hear from you. Do you think Congress is doing enough to investigate fraud in government programs, or do you think these issues get ignored too often? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more breakdowns of moments the mainstream media barely touches, make sure you like this video, subscribe to KR Reacts, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.